All right, friends, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today for class number 3 of the Mandela Triptych. I do have a slide PowerPoint to go over with you that will discuss not only what we're going to review today, but then go into detail of those topics. So I will now pull that up for you. All right, so hopefully everyone can see the Next Stage program up on their screen. Make sure, give me a thumbs up there to let me know if you see that. All right, perfect, wonderful. Okay, thank you. All right, so here we go. The Next Stage program is brought to you by Heal Her Art. It is a wellness program for women veterans here in Arizona and is sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary Foundation, Veterans First, and the Arizona Commission on the Arts. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Phoenix Veterans Creative Arts Festival, and then a little bit about the National 2020 Creative Arts Festival, because that's actually happening right now. We're going to talk about displaying options for your Mandala Triptych, and then we'll be sharing our artwork. So the Phoenix Veterans Creative Arts Festival is sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary in conjunction with the Department of Veterans Affairs. The festivals take place across the country, and first place winning works of each category participate in the national festival. You do not need to travel with your artwork. By participating, you have a chance to safely get out of your comfort zone and meet other veterans. Also, this is a friendly and supportive environment to show your work. Usually the festivals are open to the public, and in Arizona, they are generally a few hours for one day. Obviously, with the current situation, there may be some variations to that. And there are awards for each category and a People's Choice Award. So lots of dignitaries from the VA and auxiliary come to this particular event. And as soon as the local Phoenix and Prescott admission information becomes available, we'll be sure to post that to the Heal Her Art Facebook page. So just please be sure to follow the Heal Her Art Facebook page. Okay, so let's go to displaying your artwork. At this point, I'm not quite sure what you have decided as whether you're a 1, 2, or 3 panel design for your mandala. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everyone has created 3 panels. And if you have not, you just know that for displaying options, that still applies to you, just with 1 or 2 panels. So we're going to discuss orientation, like which way is best to show off your mandala design. And we'll review a few display options for multi-paneled art, framing and mounting. All right, so orientation, vertical or horizontal. Perhaps you haven't thought about the canvases being displayed horizontal. So like me, you've probably been working on your art vertically, shown on the left here, and if you view your panels aligned horizontally as pictured on the right of the slide, you can see that it may show off your design a little bit better. So those are 2 different ways that I'd like for you to lay out your artwork and see which one you like better. You may have never, like I said, thought about displaying it as presented on the right. So also note here in this picture, the difference in spacing between panels from the left art to the right art. See, on the left, it is closer together, where on the right, it's further apart. And this is an important factor for multi-panel art because it lets each piece speak on its own, yet shows the relationship with neighboring panels and contributes to the overall size of your artwork. All right, Stu. Let's talk about hanging tabs. So you have hanging tabs in your kit, and I have a display here on the right of how to apply the hanging tabs. You measure out relatively center of the panel, but then also at the top of the panel. And now the hanging tabs have a sticky adhesive portion that you peel off, and then you just press and apply to the back of your canvas panel. So the hanging tabs are supposed to handle several pounds of weight, and our canvas panels are not even a pound each. But I like to build things like a ship, so I reinforce everything with tape. That's just how I do, because then I have peace of mind knowing that it will never separate from the canvas and nothing will ever come crashing down to the ground. So I reinforce it with packing tape. It's not necessary to use the tape, but that's just me personally. You can use duct tape, masking tape, the regular clear tape, that works fine too. But you can see in my diagram there, tape is the red dash line on the display there. Okay, so let's talk about frames. Whether you frame your in individual frames or together or in a large frame with all panels together, you're going to want to remove the glass because the space where the glass goes is just about the same thickness as the canvas panel. So both of them will not fit together. If you want glass, you'll have to seek more of a custom framing option, which potentially can be costly if you don't have custom framing experience. Okay, so mounting your boards. I think that I may mount my canvas panels on a board, and you can adhere the panels with a multitude of adhesives, such as like regular craft glue, wood glue, epoxy, rubber cement. I mean, the list is endless too as far as adhesives, but my favorite is silicone. And I use this because it is easy to remove later on. Just a dot in each of the four corners is sufficient. And so if you ever want to change out your presentation, you can easily cut that silicone away from the board more so than you can with standard glue adhesives. For this application, you'll still want to remove the glass from the frames. And if you have any questions for your particular artwork and presentation or mounting, just shoot me an email with a photo and I'll give you some ideas. Okay. So please, if you have not sent a photo of your progress of your canvas panel artwork, something is better than nothing. We share the art with sponsors and include on some of the promotional materials to let other women veterans know about our wellness program. So here is a collage of artwork that I put together of the October class where the participants learned how to paint with enamel paints on a glass surface. You can see we used wildflowers as our image content, and a few of you may be familiar with this and see your artwork included. So thank you to those of you who have submitted photos in the past. Once I receive some photos of your work and I put together a collage similar to this, I'll include my mandala design, and I will because I've had a few questions of people asking me to see mine, and I like to wait and not show mine because I don't want to influence your creativity and your designs. Okay, so we are going to briefly share our artwork if you would like to, and I have included some topics to discuss. And I definitely encourage you to share with the group because we're here to be supportive and encouraging. And too many times I've heard thank you from participants who are not artistic or have an artistic block for having people share the work because it is inspiring to them and it encourages them to continue on with the project. If you don't know what to say, like I said, I've got a few topics here that will help you in discussion. A challenge you had and how you resolved it. Out of all of the artwork that you created for this activity, which one you like the best and why, and then to share your favorite part of the activity. And I gave some examples there of some things that maybe was your favorite part. Okay. So friends, I will allow you, since I have you all here, I will spotlight you and see if you would like to share your work with us, or I can just call on random people. Just go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a wave or something, let me know. Anybody? Okay, all right, Teresa, I'm gonna ask to unmute you, my friend. And I will spotlight you there. Go ahead and.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sweet, okay. I haven't really shared much yet because I don't feel like I'm a very good artist, but I've been doing a lot of practice, and so I did, I finished this. It's, you know, it's some of the wildflowers, so.
Fantastic, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. And, you know, here's some of the practices that I did on the wildflowers. I really like that one with the different shades of yellow, and I put some gold that I had. I kind of mixed some acrylics with enamel, just because I had more colors. But then I did a lot of also practicing. I'm still working on the mandala, but I did like some practicing of my own, just like getting used to, these are like just different things like that were provided to us, like these. I went and practiced them, and I'm working on a mandala, and it's, like I said, I'm not even close to being done, but it's gonna be a sun and moon type thing. So, and that's what I got for now. I'm still gonna be working on this, and I will send in a picture. Yeah, I've been really bad about that because my work embarrasses me, but yeah, something else, I'll send in something. It's better than nothing.
I love the concept, and in fact, you know, I'm impressed that you actually put color on your paper template there, where we were just drawing out the design, but you're actually taking it a whole nother step to plan out the color for when you transfer to the canvas. So that's great.
Right. Yeah, I figured before I paint it or anything, I wanted to use colored pencils because my hands shake, and it's easier for me to use pencil than it is paint because I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it looks more sloppy with paint.
I
So
understand. Teresa, you know, once you draw on your design onto the canvas, you can actually use permanent markers instead of the paintbrushes and still create those beautiful patterns that you drew on the templates.
awesome. I didn't even think of that. I mean, I guess I thought I was restricted to the paint, you know, but which I like to practice anyway. So, but yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to share? I see Kelly's hand is raised here. Should I assume that Kelly would like to?
I was just curious because I couldn't see Teresa's work at first, and now I see her. So maybe I have my settings mixed up, but thank you.
Okay. Teresa, would you mind that work of art that you started on the template where you had the color? I'm going to spotlight you again. Would you mind just sharing that with us one more time so everybody can see? You said that you were doing a combination of patterns that were inspired by the sun and moon, or was it sun and ocean?
The sun and the moon.
Okay.
But I'm also, because it's, I don't know, because it's a mandala, I want to put different little, I mean, I want to decorate it more and have like you know, maybe spots it, you know, like I want to make the moon obvious, but I want to put decorations on them and between the rays. So
I can almost see something with the cycle, the moon cycle on there.
oh, that's a
Sticking
good
with your
idea.
patterns.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
excited to see what you come up with. Thank you again
Yes.
for sharing.
Yes. I'll send the finished product, a picture of it.
Sounds good. All right. So
Thank you.
I did have a couple hands raised. Oh, Miss Alice. All right. I'm asking to unmute you here. And I'll spotlight you, my friend.
We're not spotlighting very well, but here. Yeah. Uh-oh. What am I doing? I'm doing something wrong. There.
Ooh.
This is Barbara you're talking to.
Yeah, this is Barb. Alice and I are both here together, but this is my the paper one so far.
That's awesome. I love those lightning bolts there.
Thank you.
That line pattern design you have fits perfectly in that space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Barbara, for sharing your progress.
Thank you.
Alice, did you have
Well, all I have is I did, you know, this from the other day.
oh, okay, good.
And then
Added some
I
nice things
just
to that.
barely started working on this because I just haven't had the time and I had a lot of other appointments. So, but I'm excited about being able to do it and, you know, just doing what I can when I can.
That's fine. You've got some really nice detailed patterns there. So I think your mandala is going to have really very unique and intricate design to it. So I look forward to seeing the finished results there whenever you're able to get to it.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Let's see, who else do I have here? I had a couple other hands raised. Okay, Ms. Connie, let's see if I'll unmute you here and give you a spotlight.
Well, I hope I can show you everything. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. We can.
Okay, let's see. I got it all done. So let's see here. Got to hold them all together and turn them around.
Oh, she got all the canvases done. Oh my God. Oh, how beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
And I love you got those rhinestones on there.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, I have a lot of paint, so I use some of my own colors too.
Yeah.
I did some mixing of the blue and white to get the lighter blue.
Mhm.
What was the first girl that spoke? What was her name?
We had Teresa, I believe.
Teresa.
First.
I kind of agreed with her because I don't have shaking hands, but I don't have the most steady hands. I've done some watercolor. And putting the paint on the canvas was, you know, you'd put it down and there'd be, you know, if you got up really close and look, there'd be a lot of gaps in there. And I wondered if colored pen or something on some different material, would it be canvas or just paper would be easier? I was even thinking of those art brushes, but those are that real fine point, they come in together, but I think they're watercolor.
Yes, Teresa could use a multitude of materials if she's doing her design on paper. It may translate well on canvas, but that definitely would be an experiment for her. Since I have you on and you have a very ornate pattern and multicolored, what would you say was the greatest challenge of this activity for you?
Well, yeah, I when I drew it, I thought, well, maybe this is too complicated, you know? But I worked outside. I worked out on my patio, and I just did it. You know, I did, and it was very relaxing. But it was, I guess, I kind of rushed it sometimes too, and it may look good, but when I get close to it, it looks, oh, that wasn't so good. I like kind of more straighter thing. You know, like some parts of the thing are thin, and then it gets, your hand slips or something, and then you get a blotch, and it's hard to get rid of, you know? I had to do a little bit of touching up the background because of what I had messed up.
Well, you are your worst critics because you are
Yes.
staring at it for hours on end.
Yes.
I've had a couple requests for you to please, if you wouldn't mind showing your work again.
Okay. And it's kind of the colors. I thought the colors were beautiful of the beads. And so I kind of did, I don't know, it was kind of the colors of Arizona, purple and turquoise and yellow and blue. We don't have an ocean or many lakes, but let's get it all together here. So I thought the colors that I picked kind of went perfectly with the beads.
And you did your background a little different than I was giving an example of. Your background is actually kind of divided in half. It's at more than one color. You've got white in the central portion.
Well, yeah, there's a splotch of white in the middle panel. It was kind of like that email you sent around. I like whoever did that one with the blue and I think there was yellow in it, or brown.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then I thought the green for the stems, and then the purple for the leaves, and
fantastic. Thank you so much, Connie, for sharing. I
okay.
taken the time to show us again up close there.
Yeah, it was challenging.
Hopefully a good challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Good challenge.
Thank you.
All right. Who else do we got here? All right, Carolyn. Let's see. You've got a fancy number there to your name.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my name. Oh, I got a new computer. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, hi, everybody. So I'm going to start with my favorite out of all the ones we did. And my screen doesn't look really clear. I don't know. Here's my favorite of the enamel painting.
Thank you for sharing that.
And then for the mandala, I thought it was going to hold together, but I guess not. I was hoping this would work. But anyway, this is
Give us the two panels
mandala.
together, and then we'll just know that the panel on the end is similar to the one from the other end. She has low bandwidth there, so there may be a slight delay. So look at that. Isn't that magnificent? And it is completely different than any other mandala I've ever seen. Fantastic.
Uh-oh. Okay, it fell over.
That's all right. What would you say, Carolyn, is the most challenging portion of this particular activity for you, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so most of the challenging part is transferring. So my lines did not transfer evenly. I had to improvise and add lines in. And also I had little teardrop. I forgot what they were, the technical name on the sheet. These are supposed to be like teardrops. And these right here, like little teardrops. So those didn't come out. So I said, okay, let me just paint and put the jewels here. So that's, in this piece right here, another challenge. Remember how you said if you do a texture back that you can't cover it up very well? So my circles didn't. And so I just went back in with brown, and then I put the black in, and even, so that's where the little dots came from. So basically just covered it up.
Well, it turned out gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Then, the challenges.
You still there?
Were really thin. So that was a, but once I started transferring it, the thin lines got better. But, and this part, Teresa, I'm gonna say this to you because you were talking, I have the trimmers too, and art is subjective, so so when the lines got a little wiggly or fat or whatever, I just, and some of them you can see, let me see, here where all this blended together almost, you can see different sides right here. Stuck with it and said, okay, it's gonna work out. I just accepted it, basically. And that was it.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Right. All right, friends. Oh, Ms. Becky, okay. I can't wait to see what you've got. I'm going to unmute you. There you go.
Does it work? Can you hear me? I got something.
You're good.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Now let's see if I can angle this. It's just one panel and I kept it extremely simple, as you can see. And the gray in there that you see, that's the silver paint. I'm trying to get this at a better lighting, but it's not working out very well. So anyways, I just continued off the end. I did have some problems with being able to get the lines all completely on. So I just continued that on as you had suggested when you saw it the first time. And then just threw some silver paint in there and just left it very simple like this.
Do you think that you may be adding anything else to this particular panel?
I don't think so. Yeah, I get a little concerned because I don't feel I'm very artistic either, that if I add too much, then I'm either going to get too frustrated or it's just going to look too cluttered. So I figured I'll just stop where I'm at.
Well, I think this is a great start, and based on this, you have a little bit of experience under your belt, and then you can apply this and then expand on your other panels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fantastic for you to have a good simple start, something you feel comfortable with, and then when you move on to the other panels, you can maybe be a little bit more experimental since you've already kind of got a good feeling of how things go.
Yep. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. All right, friends. Is there anyone else that would like to share? All right, Miss Tony, let me find you here. I'm asking to unmute you now.
All right, so I missed the beginning. I had some family stuff happening, so I went to Goodwill, and bought a vase and did the whatever that flower was on a vase. I don't know how to fire it, so I haven't fired it. But that's the enamel on glass. And then for the mandala, I am having issues trying to figure out how to line it all up, because I'm anal and I'm trying to make it perfect. And so this is just kind of what I've started with and don't really know where to go from here. So that's all I have.
Okay, no problem. So how many panels would you like to do for your mandala design?
Well, having this one, I just have as a middle one. And I was thinking that I might just turn it and do one sideways like this, or I don't know. I just, because it's so centered, I don't know which way to go with it.
Sure. Okay, so I recommend starting with that center design that you have, and it may be easier for you to continue on making and adding your patterns if you remove those other paneled sections from your template. just cut them away. And so that your piece of paper will line up better on the canvas panel.
Okay.
So when you go to transfer, it will be more lined up. Now, it may not go from end to end based on the paper and the panel. Becky was showing, she had to extend a little bit more of her pattern
Right.
because it didn't all, it stopped from that piece of paper, just a little bit from the edge. And I had her continue some of that on. So to help you get more of a precise transfer, remove that other portion of the paper template so it lines up better for you when you are transferring to the panel.
Okay.
I think that will really make a big difference for you, because I'm a particular kind of person myself. Also, when transferring the design, because you have your lines are equally spaced out there, I see, and they're gorgeous, and it's a repetitive line. I recommend only transferring the outer lines of the design, and then draw in with a pencil on the canvas, or just paint those in, because you may get discouraged when you transfer all of those lines over and one might be a hair off, or so you might have a little bubble somewhere, and then you're like, oh no, the whole thing's ruined. If you go with the outer, maybe like do every other line, and so that when you see it transferred onto the canvas panel, then you know for yourself, oh yeah, that in equal distance in that space between those lines is another line for me to apply.
Right. So what I was looking to do is probably just paint like this line here, and leave this open, and then skip this line and paint this in or something.
Yes.
Like do like Teresa did before I transfer it, and color in the lines that I wanted to transfer, because I'm not going to paint every line.
Yes.
It was more of painting would be like right through here, instead of painting this. Instead of painting the pencil line, painting between the lines.
Yes. I think that's fantastic. And I noticed that since you're using that circle on the template, and so you don't have those lines on the template that show you where the panels are, just put your panel right on top of your template drawing and center it up based on your circle there, and just outline the canvas panel on the template. Then you can just cut those two lines and your design will be perfect wherever you want it.
Okay.
Yep, because based on how you're holding it. If you turn your design the other way, you can use those tick marks to cut for that one central panel.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is because I'm so anal, the thickness of the template or whatever, some of them aren't equal, and so it throws me off. But then I just removed it from the I put graph paper underneath it, and I had to take it off the graph paper because it was throwing me off.
That's great. That's perfect. In fact, what you could do is you can put the graph paper on top of the template paper, or even a plain piece of paper on top of the template paper, and then do your design on that plain paper. And then you can keep separating it from the template. And if you want to put a couple tick marks here and there to realign with the template, just to kind of check things, you can do that. But then you can be creative on your own with the design and not worry about that template getting in the way of your pattern.
Okay.
So wonderful. Great question here from Ms. Shirley. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tony. I like the fact that you were talking about how you're a particular kind of person, because I am too. And so your questions about how to transfer and have it be accurate are great, because I know some other people had that same question. So thank you for sharing that with us. All right. I had a great question from Ms. Shirley about the canvas panels and where to buy them from. I got them from dickblick.com. You can also get them from Jerry's Artorama. And I want to say Jerry's Artorama. I think that's a local, that is also a local art shop. But you can use any size canvas panel, and then just tape it off to make sections if you like that concept of sections. Yes, Jerry's Autorama is in Tempe. And I would probably call ahead just to make sure they have them in stock if you're making a trek there. They are 6 by 12 canvas panels, but if you got a larger canvas panel, like I said, you can measure it out and divide it up. And then if you want to fill in with a black line or a colored line to make it look as a multi-paneled piece, but still all be a one canvas, then that's fine. Dick Blick is also in Tempe, yes. And but I get, like I said, I got mine online, I got it in bulk. So I'm not sure if the local store will have it. So call the local store before showing up to see if they have it in stock. And then 2, if they could just order it for you to purchase there, because you're not gonna wanna be purchasing everything in bulk. And you just maybe want a couple panels, maybe they'd be willing to purchase a case of it or whatever to have in their store, and you buy a couple. Doesn't hurt to ask. All right. So let's see, and anyone else would like to share their work? Ms. Kelly, would you like to share? All right, let me, Kelly, I just asked to unmute you there.
Hi, everyone. Hello, ladies. I just want to share my one single panel. I don't know if you can see it. Can we see it okay? Yes. So I did the whole background, like you said, with the light blue turquoise. And I think most of my challenge was the transfer process. And then, but my most favorite part was I've been starting yoga up again. And these patterns I see in my yoga mat. so that was I was just like, I remembered my art class while I'm breathing deep and relaxing. And so I just wanted to share that with you ladies. Thank you.
Ms. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing. I was just taken back when I saw yours because those are the colors I'm using in my design. Panel, and I've got a yellow panel. You saw I have the blue panel with the gold fleck in it, and then I've got a black and gold panel, but it's all that colorway.
Oh, so I'll keep going then.
Yes.
Yes.
Good minds think alike. But you know, it's funny you say that about how you saw the patterns in your yoga mat, because when I'm thinking about my patterns and making them up, and I look somewhere either for inspiration or I'm like, wait a second, that's where I got that idea from. And I didn't even realize that I've been seeing that pattern somewhere and it made its way into my artwork. So it's just, you get your inspiration from all around you. So thank you for mentioning that, because I did not comment on that, but that's definitely ways that we get our inspiration is by what we see around us.
Amen to that. Namaste. Thank you.
Hey to you. All right, I have Ms. Shirley here who would like to share. Let me find her here. I'm going to ask to unmute you.
Okay. I started out with this, and it's quite intricate. So I put that aside and go, because I'm really questioning my painting ability, and I go, oh no, that's not going to work. So that's the first one. And then I went on and I did this. And it still was too busy. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so then I did this one, and you'll see the blue lines are on there because I turned it over and I used that. And that's what my panel is. I really question my painting abilities. I get very frustrated with myself because my paint goes this way and goes out of the line, or it goes this way. And So this is what I did is that I had a stencil I used, and it's a tree of life. Let me pull that back. And so thank you. So all of my work is just this, and I feel like it's very childish looking. There's some parts of it I really like, but there's some parts that, no, I don't think it's so great. But I know with a lot of practice, and that's why I tell my wife the same thing, and she says, "We know how you get better." I go, "Yeah, I know, practice, practice, practice." And I had problems with the paintbrush too. It just wasn't cooperating very well. So, what was the hardest part? Drawing I had two parts that were hard. Drawing the mandalas, or the shapes, and then painting. But it was fun. You know, I had a good time, and I didn't get as much time to spend as I wanted to spend on it. But I've just done the last few days, I've just, did more time on it.
Shirley, you raise a good point that making the patterns onto your paper template it's something you can do. It's easy, right? But then this idea of transferring it onto the canvas panel can feel overwhelming. But then if it doesn't transfer the way in your mind it should transfer, or you paint it on, then you get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I want to encourage you. Can you show us your panel again? I think maybe when you started off, you overwhelmed yourself, and I want you to continue on with your patterns, but I envision utilizing this panel as the center, okay? And then taking from the
It is, yes.
side, taking one of the side designs, because you spread out the patterns fairly well, and transfer just a half a design or a quarter, and link that up utilizing the yellow and the blues and the colors that you have there to get kind of an all-encompassing tree of life energy. And I think that, keeping in with the Mandala design, but just reduce it smaller so that it's not the whole mandala, will really help you feel more confident and
you're freezing
for your designs. Did you get me, Shirley?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. I was saying I suggest that you scale down. Instead of thinking of the whole mandala pattern, maybe try a half or a quarter of the panel and use those on the sides, and incorporate the same colors and a few of the patterns into those side panels to help make a whole bigger tree of life energy type of image. And I think you'll feel comfortable and confident transferring something on a smaller scale.
See, that's what this is. See that in the middle here is a tree of life.
Uh-huh.
It's just lighter.
Well, you've already got your tree of life panel done. So
Can you
just remove
and then
the whole section.
that is the center panel, and then this is the side panels. So I already been doing, put that in place, and then thought I'd work on the center one. I wanted to say too that I did use mixed media.
Okay.
It was painting, and then I used a felt pen, very fine, Sharpie to draw some lines.
Good, thank you.
And to fill in a little bit. I gave my tree some, and this is supposed to be some gold in here, but I tried to give it some definition with the felt pen.
I tell you
So there you go.
those rhinestones are glowing beautifully. When you hold them up to the screen, they are just really radiating those rhinestones on there. I don't know if you can see that when you hold it up to the camera. I think you froze there. All right, so is there anyone else? Karen, maybe? Would you like to share? Okay, we'll get you in here.
Unmute.
You have to unmute yourself there.
Now can you hear me?
There you go. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I don't follow rules really well. I'll start right at the beginning with that. But I'll say that the background, I totally love the plastic bag thing. Never thought about doing that. And so I painted it, but I didn't want to do all 3 panels the same, although I in the future I might, but I ended up doing 3 different base panels and then 3 different bag things. And it was like cathartic. I'm like, you know, I had some music going and stuff like that. In my mind, I had one thing that is like, as soon as you talked about the triptych, was I have always been fascinated with a cutaway of a nautilus shell. I don't know how many people have ever seen those, but the way the nautilus builds on itself, and I have one nautilus shell here, but it builds chambers and it goes in circular. So when you were talking about circular and then some of the other shapes, in my mind, the first thing I wanted to do was the nautilus shell with the chambers. But then I also wanted to incorporate some of the interesting other things. And where I was challenged was my 3 panels, I'll pull it up a second. My 3 panels, I kind of a little crazy on some of the color for the center panel. And so I had to figure out a way to tie it together. So I decided to make the nautilus, where it was going to be 3 different colors. Instead, I need to pull my chair up. I wanted to make the nautilus all one color so that it would kind of show. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. All right. Can you see that?
Yes, we can. We are loving it.
Yeah, and thank you. I used the glue for like the dots for the waves. And then I also used glue. I can't see the screen myself very well. I used glue for the dots on the nautilus shell. And then the clam has some dots, but I did want to try to pull everything together. Sequins are over on one side on those flowers. I don't know if you can see those. And I tried to incorporate different colors, but the green one, the green panel was giving me issues because it was so different. So that's when I decided to make the nautilus all one color. It's, you know, instead of like doing a gold, then the next panel yellow, the next panel white. So, and then I added some color, excuse me, in the center there. So that's how it turned out. I don't know how well it translates, but I've really enjoyed the project. I will say that one thing I found when I was trying to finish up some of my painting, and I wanted those lines to match. Excuse me, dry throat. I don't have coronavirus, just saying. I wanted the lines to match, so I took packing tape and stuck it onto the back of the canvas and just used a piece of cardboard. So I positioned them right. So then when I was doing any touch up, they were kind of fixed and I could move the whole piece of cardboard around while I kind of did some touch ups. And then it didn't want to shift on me as much. And that helped me kind of line some things up where once I thought I had it lined up, and then when I got each panel painted, it's like, oh, this one's a little bit off. So then I was able to kind of stick them together, not permanently, line where I needed to line, and then kind of tweak it a little bit.
Great thinking. Thank you
There
for
you go.
sharing that technique of having the, so what Karen's saying is you have the panels face down, so the back is facing up, and she took some tape and just to fix the panels together on the back side so that when she flipped them over, she could move everything at the same time and not worry about having to realign every single time she moved those panels around. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was just on a piece of cardboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of shift them around. And then all I got to do is pull them back up before I mount them.
Thank you. And so what are your, do you have any plans to continue working on that piece, or would you say that that piece is done?
Well, I'm still toying with the idea. You've given me some feedback, which I like. And I'm trying to figure out, because as you had pointed out, this top part is not as dense as that center. The center is more, as you use the word, tight, I guess. And part of me wants to keep it open because a cutaway nautilus looks like that. The other part of me says I've already kind of gone beyond the cutaway nautilus. So what I was thinking about doing, if I'm going to touch it up on this part here, the below the top part of the shell, I thought about doing some drops, a drop of yellow, then orange, yellow, orange, tiny little drops, and then I use a dry fan brush technique, pull it down just a little bit to kind of give a semblance of the curve, and not doing too much, just giving some of the semblance of the curve. The other thought that I had was keeping with more of the, like the snaky and all that, is just doing a pattern of like some kind of crab things, and just kind of doing a crab motif along the bottom, and then, you know, figuring out, but I wasn't sure how it was going to look. The other part of it that I was thinking was this top part here to here. I keep wondering whether or not I need to play with the bag a little bit more, and in the corners, like pulling in some of the yellow color and bag just, you know, corner and up and then the corner to kind of give that curve with the baggy thing, but only very light and not a lot of it, but just kind of pull that whole thing in because I have so much at the top that's just squared. So I dream about it at night, you know, I think about it in the shower, and eventually I'll figure it out, you know.
I like that idea of incorporating those corners to fill up the space more with some design, but because your shell is so crisp and clean, I almost think that doing that technique, you're going to want to keep it contained. So if you have any type of painter's tape or low tack tape, I recommend maybe just kind of taping off a curve on those corners or areas that you want to do a little bit more experimentation with, more of a vibrant yellow or textured application there. And so then it's just contained, but it also keeps that clean line look that you've already got developed in your design.
Oh, that's a good idea. Or maybe I could take like some cardboard and cut the cardboard and then press it. And then when I'm painting, then it doesn't go past where the cardboard is. That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, then you don't have to worry about doing any type of taping. If you,
Yeah, I'm just afraid the tape, how are you going to get a nice curve? That kind of worried me. But yeah, I do see, because I just thought just where that is, if I just go a little of that, a touch on the top, and then a little of that, that would kind of bring that curve to it. But it's been a lot of fun. And I plan to use this shape more and more because I've always been fascinated with it. And I found a mathematical thing that talked about how to draw it. So now I know how to draw it freehand. It takes a lot of time, but I know how to draw it freehand, so that I think I'm wanting to do another one. I want to do a big 3 panels, very smooth background, and maybe only like white, very crisp lines, the whole Nautilus shell, make it an artsy piece.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with such a unique design that you have created there. And you have really opened our discussion up to some other thoughts of possibilities of things that we can add to our designs. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Oh, I do have to say, by the way, mixed media is a wonderful thing. I could not have painted all those little lines. I did a lot of paint, but then I admit, I got acrylic paint pen, and I used them in the military to stencil my name on, so I knew they existed, and that allowed me to get those smaller lines without having to go. Wah. So just saying.
Thanks for that. I'm going to move over to Ms. Jane. I'm going to. You are already unmuted there. Please, you have the floor.
Right. So one of the things I wanted to agree with you is like painter's tape is like totally awesome. So in my design, I really kind of, and I can't really show it to you because I would have to take my whole computer and just, it's an all-in-one. But I did send it to you, Dana, earlier. But painter's tape was perfect for it. And then there are some blocks that I have on mine that I do have to redo. So it actually works out perfect because I can re-tape them off with the painter's tape and then totally redo them. And so I kind of did my mine backwards. So I got everything out on the print, and I'm actually going to tie it together as a mandala on the second part of it, which is obviously backwards, but to me, it took me so many different times because I have the same thing. I have a lot of white lines. And I did try to do, I did try the acrylic paint stick too, because these are really tricky defined lines. The only thing I found with that was that once in a while they kind of spit out. And so then you get little white lines out there. And then if you use a custom color, then you have to redo it all over. So I think as I'm doing this over again, I'm gonna make sure that if I have to do these panels here, they're gonna be a color that I actually have and not a mixed color. Other than that, I think that's it.
Well, thank you. I look forward to seeing your design because I know that you've been really putting a lot of thought into what you would like to do that's inspirational, that keeps you motivated in the project. So I'm very excited that actually we have a question here. Can you show us anything? Some people want to see something because you've been talking so great about it. We want to see a little bit of snippet. Give us a little peekaboo.
Okay, so this is the middle part. I'm doing the 7 chakras. Let me see if I can do this. Because my niece is going for her license to be a chakra master. So this is where I'm starting at, and then underneath the green, it's hard to get it all in. Sorry, let's take this side. So it's going to be a 3 panel, but it's going to go the other way. Here we go. So those white lines are so hard to do. And some of them I have to redo over. But if you look at the panels, like let's say I wanted to redo this over, I can take the painter's tape and just make a whole new canvas. And so what I did too also in the background is I did gold. I did white first, and then I kind of patted it with gold to kind of give it that mystic look. But I still want to kind of bring it all together. Let me give you an example. So let's say we have the first two. Let me put that up there. So I'm thinking of bringing it together in a circle of all three, but that is actually my afterthought. Even though I know most people plan that out ahead of time, my brain works a little different. So there we go.
Well, your lines look fantastic from where I'm sitting. I'm sure everybody's just in awe over those lines. So don't be too hard on yourself. It really looks very nice. You know, for being hand painted, that's one of those things is when something is handmade, it is not cookie cutter. It's not printed from a machine. It is handmade. And so you want to have some of those imperfections in your eyes that help. I mean, this is your chakras. So, I mean, made with love is very important when it comes to this type of artwork. So I think it looks lovely, and it really looks good. I mean, from my angle, it looks like it's something that's printed up. It does not look like you painted by hand because it is so crisp and clean. So please don't be so hard on yourself. It looks fantastic, just wonderful.
Thank you.
The colors are really nice. I like your presentation is very crisp and, you know, centered there. It's very thought out. And I like, you know, this idea of you having this afterthought of, well, maybe I'll add this and maybe I'll add that, because that is what keeps us going. And maybe this work of art is kind of minimal. And then you do another work of art that is starting off with where you finished on this one, and then expand upon that. So that's a whole nother work of art in itself. So great work. Well, ladies, I have to say, I don't think that there is anyone else that needs to show. I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, I apologize. Please raise your hand if I did forget you. Sorry, I think we've got everybody here. All right, so my friends, I am so grateful that you have stuck with the class here and you are continuing with the project. Hopefully, this has inspired you to make more works of art with patterns, mandala designs, or just incorporating more patterns and designs into your own artwork. Or maybe you're not an artist at all and you have no interest in art in general, but this has kind of given you a new appreciation for art and hand-eye coordination, of course. Well, friends, I'm gonna wrap things up here. I'm gonna stop the video. Thanks so much for joining me. And I'll be sending out an email with the link so that we all can view this later on to talk about design aspects as far as framing and hanging your artwork in case you wanted to review those again. So I'll be including that link in an email out to you tomorrow. Please be safe, be well, and be creative, friends.
Thanks.